So yeah, long story short for it, I just right out of the gate, I don't really agree with the whole uncanny valley thing. I think it's just shitty CGI, but it doesn't really trigger the uncanny valley effect. It just seems like a lot of times people are throwing whatever fucking words they feel like into it. You know, like oh,
Hmm.
I learned this topic of conversation 2.5 months ago, and it vaguely applies to this.
You mean 2.5 minutes ago?
Yeah,
That's
that too.
usually what I've found is people aren't as well read as they like to claim that they are. I don't know if I've coined the phrase, but I'm sure other people have said it multiple times. Wikipedia warriors. The minute they get on there, they just Wikipedia shit. But
Yeah.
my whole argument with the uncanny valley thing is for it to be, I don't know, in my opinion, for it to be uncanny valley, the CGI has to actually be good. It has to be
Exactly.
so, excuse me, it has to be so good that it's it feels like it should be real, but there's something off about it. When you look at, for example, which I'm assuming is the cusp of this topic, She-Hulk, it doesn't look good. It looks really bad. Like
Mhm.
it, it looks really off-putting. Um, and I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know what I was supposed to be expecting. I mean, just look at the face.
Well, see
I'm
the
sure you've got memes playing, and it's just
uh,
it looks like a
not at
like
all a
a,
solid
a
segue. I love that. I told him I was going to do meme cycling through this one just because. uh,
well, if you look at the picture
and
of
that's why there's no
her,
intros.
that I mean, honestly, it works out best that way.
Yeah.
If you look at the picture of her holding the cell phone, it looks like a deep fake, but like if they stopped like
Just a
halfway.
still frame from a deep fake.
Yeah, and they just stopped halfway instead of blending it in correctly.
Hmm.
Like, because this looks like a deep fake, but it's not a deep fake. It's supposed to be like the actual product.
Exactly. And I'm gonna be
Um,
like, I have to be honest that I wasn't like 100% a huge gigantic fan of She-Hulk. I'm not even really a gigantic fan of Marvel comics.
mhm.
So I, if anybody starts like quoting the comics and everything like that, I feel like at this point, with the level of disconnect between the two in the MCU as a whole, not just like the TV shows or the movies in general, because
Mhm.
they I think we've talked about this and stuff previously, where they rip from so many different storylines from so many different authors that the end product does not feel like a really cohesive character, and that's just par for the course now. It's
Right,
frustrating, but that's just how they're going to have everything play out. I don't
right,
really expect comic book She-Hulk slash
right. Like
shit
comic accurate.
Carol.
Like
No, that's not Carol. What's her first name?
you talking about She-Hulk?
Yeah, She-Hulk's like human persona first name. I literally just had it in my head and I forgot it.
Um, I don't remember what her name is, to be honest. I'll be honest. Well, like I've read quite a few Marvel
Jennifer
comics, but
Walters.
Jennifer Waltz, thank you. There you go. But I never read She-Hulk. I also, for that matter, never really read Fantastic Four, and I know She-Hulk in the comics was like a major staple in the Fantastic Four at points.
Hmm.
But aside from like the Thing and maybe Johnny Storm a little bit, I could really give a shit less about the Fantastic Four. I hate the, well, okay,
That's fair.
if we're not talking Doom, Doom is different, but that's a whole different character and shit anyway. But
Hmm.
back on She-Hulk, like kind of to piggyback off what you were saying, yes, we shouldn't be expecting comic book accurate. Like if we were expecting comic book accurate, Adam Warlock would have been one of the central focuses of Infinity War,
I'm
but he
still pissed
wasn't.
he's not in it.
So,
That was like
same,
yeah.
same.
My family hates watching the Marvel movies with me because I do know a lot. If there was a bit of Marvel Comics history that I really loved, it was like some of the newer edition Deadpool ones, because that's when I
Hmm.
started kind of like getting into the character and stuff. Because as a kid, I read Punisher comics, and that obviously like some of the more mercenary like New York hero type people,
Right.
they end up being more in my wheelhouse of the things that I enjoy. Eventually, that led me to Dark Horse Comics, where
Hmm.
I ended up being more of a Dark Horse Comics fan overall, and a little bit more of a
Sure.
DC fan than anything else. So
Mhm.
these a little bit more campy, a little bit more lighthearted stories for Marvel. And I know that's a really broad generalization because I know some of this shit is super
It
dark, but
varies. It
comparing
varies.
yeah, comparing it to DC is definitely the darker of the two universes.
I actually agree with that. You know what's ironic is I remember reading a while ago some I don't remember where the fuck I saw it. Maybe it was on Twitter or maybe I'm just making it up in my head, but I probably am. Straw man argument, right?
Mhm.
Um, I remember seeing a long time ago somebody saying that Marvel is for people who want to read grittier, darker stories, and DC is for the uppity, more cheerful shit. And I'm like, motherfucker, have you ever read Batman? Have you ever read fucking Constantine? Sandman was originally DC until they went and created Vertigo. So Lucifer, but Marvel's the darker one. So okay,
Yeah.
but and you know what's funny? I actually do. I can't say I have a choice between either of them. It really just depends on the mood I'm in that month. Sometimes I'm more of a Marvel guy, other times more of a DC guy. Right now, I'm more of a Marvel guy,
Mhm.
and it's primarily because of Multiverse of Madness. I know you haven't watched it yet, and again, I give it like a 7 out of 10. It was all right,
I even put a
but
multiverse of madness like meme reference in here too, so you'll see that
oh,
later.
oh okay.
Yeah.
And I'm reading one of Black Bolt's storylines right now, and okay. Here's the thing. I'm gonna sound like one of those fucking people. I read them before. Um, I didn't become a fan of the Inhumans until about 5, 6 years ago,
Yeah.
and that was when they were trying to kill the X-Men off. Now, I was not okay with that when they did the Inhumans versus X-Men storyline, but I was like, all right, if they're gonna fucking push these guys, I might as well at least try to read them. And they're okay. They're all right. They're not the X-Men though. It's more like I don't really want to call it Game of Thrones.
I mean,
It's
I wouldn't say that's not an apt comparison
it's
from what I
not it's
understand.
not a lot of people like to say it's like Game of Thrones but Marvel. I wouldn't go that far, but it's definitely more like medieval style fantasy but with like science fiction bullshit and all that stuff, right? Or with a mutant twist to it. I guess you could say. But anyway, I'm reading the Black Bolt series right
Uh-huh.
now, and it's kind of sad because I don't know if we're ever gonna get like the version of Black Bolt we deserve, and that's okay. We don't necessarily deserve it, but um, looking at the direction of Marvel now, I just don't see us getting a really good version than humans. And I'm not talking about the shitty one where they go to Hawaii. Like I'm not talking about that show.
Hey,
Um,
if there's one thing that they need to fucking pay attention to if they ever decide to actually bring the X-Men into this, it's that they need to actually remember that if no one else, X-Men get a beach episode. If no
they
one
kind of
else.
need to. Yeah, they do kind of need to.
Yeah, that was one of the better things. Like even as not that far back by comparison to the entire history of the X Men in the comics,
Hmm.
the animated series. The if you remember the Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network and all of them, they had a good like 10 year period after like mid 2000s ish where they were making cartoons that were heavily inspired by not just the comics and the new style and everything, but also by like character designs in anime. So got a lot of cool character redesigns from that, but you also got the X-Men animated series in there. And one of my favorite episodes that I still remember pretty vividly starts out with just the kids playing baseball and then
Hmm.
immediately breaking a rule that they had for each other where it's like, hey, we were not supposed to use powers. And then Nightcrawler goes, fuck it, and starts teleporting to catch the ball and get somebody off base. So,
Which um, which episode was that? Do you remember by
uh,
chance?
I don't remember offhand which episode specifically. Let me see.
Oh, okay. If we're talking X-Men real quick, if you haven't watched it yet, or anybody listening, give Wolverine and the X-Men a shot. It's really fucking good. It only got one season, unfortunately, but it's really fucking good. It's on Disney Plus. You can watch it. Um, I think it was actually a Kevin Feige production. as well, or at least he was the producer on it or some shit before he went over to Marvel. It's really good. I don't see it talked about very often in terms of like X-Men shows, but if it would have been given the chance, I think it would have easily surpassed and it's gonna sound like fucking heresy, but it might have even surpassed the 90s X-Men. You know, I haven't watched it in a while. I'm actually going through the process. My apologies. I'm not going through the process at the moment, but I'm about to start going through and watching the 90s X-Men show. So I could be singing a completely different tune here in about a week.
Yeah.
But
I can't remember the name of the one that I'm thinking of now too, because I keep the X-Men animated
I'm sure
series.
someone will comment.
That's the one that you're thinking of, and I can understand why that sparked. This was the X-Men series that was made almost 10 years after this one, and I cannot remember what it's called now.
Is it Evolution or is it Wolverine and the X-Men? Because I'm pretty sure it's not Wolverine and the X-Men because Nightcrawler isn't really there. It might be X-Men Evolution because is it the one where they're in high school?
Yep, it's that one, X-Men Evolution.
Okay.
And oh god, I had such a crush on Rogue in this one.
Right. I think most people did. But anyway, to finish up my thought before I forget.
Go for it.
I might be singing a completely different tune here in a couple weeks. I'm getting ready for the continuation of the X-Men 90s show. It's going to be on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to hold my expectations on it. I know they said they want to make it more modern with the political climate and shit, which I think is a fucking terrible idea, but
yeah, you have an allegory for... Well, I don't know how accurate this is anymore, because every time somebody comes up with this or says something like this, it turns out it's not 100% true or totally
it's
accurate.
Clickbait.
Yeah, and
it's
that and Stan Lee's
time.
kind of been known to basically just kind of go with whatever the popular consensus is sometimes. So...
Well, you know what's funny with that is Stan Lee's been he passed away a while ago now.
Yeah.
His family and estate just signed a multi-year deal to bring him back into like products and movies and all sorts of shit. The man is dead and he's still gonna show up in cameos and shit like that. See, it's actually kind of fucking crazy.
I wish they would just fucking like play into the memes. They'd win so much more public favor if they would. I was absolutely in love with the idea of Wade Wilson, Deadpool dressing up as still wearing his costume, but wearing like Stan Lee style clothes over it, so he'd take the place of the cameos.
That'd be the best thing to do, honestly.
I was so fucking crushed when they were like, "No, we're not gonna do that. Fuck you guys." No, fuck you back. It's such a stupid thing not to do.
I don't know why they would. Like, it's fucking gift wrap. It's practically gift wrapped, and they're just not gonna do it. But all right, why not? That's Marvel, man. Like right now, again, I don't hate everything Marvel puts out. Like I said, I thought Multiverse of Madness was okay. I thought it was pretty good actually in certain regards.
I think they gotta quit with the multiverse shit. Like it's getting to be one of those ideas where it's a little played out, and they're gonna start using it as an excuse for, I wanted to see a storyline where Carol Danvers was actually a raging lesbian, so I made it in Earth 528. It's like
they didn't do that already.
Okay,
no, I'm just kidding.
I genuinely don't know because, like most people, I don't fucking read Captain Marvel comics.
Well, you're just like pretty much everybody else because clearly no one fucking reads Captain Marvel comics because the book keeps getting canceled. Like the book's been canceled so many times.
I think we're up to 9 now.
Probably. I don't know. I never read any Captain Marvel. The most I've ever read Captain Marvel was when it was what's her name, Monica Rambeau, as Photon as Captain Marvel. But that was back in like Secret Wars and shit like that.
I don't know a lot about that one. Is that the one where Monica Rambeau is actually funny?
Like comic wise?
Yeah, like the character itself. Like she was actually, pleasant.
I mean, she's likable. Yeah, she's likable.
Mm-hmm. Versus Carol Danvers, whose attitude is about as appealing as a sandpaper dildo.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of Brie Larson. I don't fucking know her personally. So, I mean, fuck, for all I know, she's a really nice person. But man, in terms of acting, I I see her and I go the other way. I'm like, no,
I never had any positive or negative feelings about her because the things that I've seen her in before, I enjoy. And I feel like it might be one of those situations here where some of the actors that we're going to see in She-Hulk, I can't remember ever seeing the main actress who's playing her. I can't remember seeing her in anything, but that doesn't mean I've never seen her in anything. It'll probably pop up in my head randomly after a month or so. But
I just thought, you know what's funny? You mentioned that. I actually just thought of one movie I do like with Brie Larson in it, and it's the first Kong movie. Because her and what's his face? Um
the guy that played Loki,
yeah, because they're both in it. And I thought she was
Tom
fine in that because
Hiddleston.
I loved the first Tittleson. Yeah, thank you. I loved Kong. I thought she was fine in that.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. The mic cut out and it sounded like you said Tittleson. Anyway,
who knows? Maybe I did.
that was funny. Anyway,
but you know what's it's interesting you say that. So here's the thing with the She-Hulk show. In terms of plot, I don't dislike the idea that they're presenting. I know it's gonna sound very grifterish, but like I don't dislike the idea. And especially now that they've essentially announced that there's gonna be another Daredevil season that's gonna be in the MCU. Oh yeah, it's the whole cast. The whole cast is coming back. Yeah.
Oh, that's I'm not too happy about that part, but I really like the guy they got to play him. Did you hear about? Did you hear his little joke that he made for if they recasted him for the MCU? It was great. So basically, he's like, okay, it's like if they recast somebody, that's fine, but I'm gonna show up in my costume, and then they have to fight me for it. I was like, I would fucking pay to see you do that.
Honestly, I can't really think of a better Matt Murdock. And here's the thing: I actually do like the original Daredevil movie. Now,
me too. Bring me your hate, bitches.
Yeah, I think it's fine. And if you haven't watched the director's cut, is even better. Like the director's cut is actually a pretty decent movie. I'm actually planning on reviewing it eventually. It's just there's so much other shit.
I'm wanting to do like one of oddly enough, The Gentleman is one of those movies that's I promise this has something to do with it because for those of you who don't know who were born after the fact that all this kind of shit, the odd chance you're listening to this in the future, the character of Bullseye was played by oh god, I just lost his name again too. Fuck.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah, Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell has been one of my low-key favorite actors for a really long time. The dude actually has a really decent amount of range. In the early in the 90s and 2000s, he basically did the same fucking thing every brown-haired deep dark-eyed man did, and he played the hot bad boy that everybody's fucking girlfriend was breaking up with their boyfriend for. And eventually, after he started to get a bit of gray, he started to get the opportunity to play some more distinguished characters and whatnot. So thankful, I'm really glad he's in the position that he's in now because he is a good actor, and he was fan-fucking-tastic as Bullseye. I loved the manic version of Bullseye rather than maybe this is just my personal interpretation of what I remember from the Daredevil comics because I actually was a fan of Daredevil before this. That Bullseye was much more cool and calculated, but easily frustrated. Colin Farrell's like a fucking cokehead who threw pins and needles at people's eyeballs.
That's pretty much how it is. Now, I've actually been reading through some of Frank Miller's Daredevil run recently, and I'm trying to remember what issue I'm actually reading. It's the one where sure comic aficionados will tell me what the number is, but it's the one where Daredevil hires a bunch of different gangsters to kill Daredevil, and he only does it so that he could videotape them and watch to find out what Daredevil's weakness is, so that he can go kill Daredevil. I don't remember what issue number that is, but it's one of Frank Miller's early runs of Frank Miller, and he is very manic. He's very obsessive. Like that's what makes him so good as a villain is the obsessiveness of wanting to kill fucking Daredevil. It's great, and I think Colin Farrell's interpretation is a bit different than the comics, at least the Frank Miller version of it. But it's still decent. I just think I don't know. I'm more of a purist. I would rather have him look like the comic. Now, granted, he would look a little fucking stupid
Well,
in the
yeah,
Daredevil
'cause
movie with Ben Affleck.
he
With
wore
a
a
giant
fucking
bullseye on his fucking
unitard
head.
with a big old white bullseye on his
Like,
fucking
let's
costume.
not
Like, it's so
pretend. Yeah, let's
simple,
not
but it's also kind of beautiful at the same time.
Right, right. Let's not pretend that it's not a fucking dumb costume. Like, it's really
Yeah.
fucking stupid, but that's what kind of makes it great because the man is so fucking insane and so, like, sure of himself that he's willing to wear a bullseye on his fucking head and go around and kill people.
I
Like,
have
that's how
no issues with
confident.
that at all. And this is one of the things that I think is lost on a lot of kids nowadays and everything. And it kind of it people that read that grew up reading the other comics, that grew up on the cartoons. One of my favorite, and this genuinely annoys me now because we're at that day and age where I can't really say this and have people just believe it to be true. I was a fan of the Iron Man way before the movies came
Same.
out, which I know
Yep.
wasn't like a normal thing because his comic books didn't do very well. He was a really hard
No.
sell. But I watched
most
the Iron Man animated series that came out in
Same.
the '90s, and I fucking
Same.
loved it. Reruns when I was a kid because I was
Mhm. Well,
2 when they originally aired, if I remember
well,
right,
yeah.
because I was born in 1994.
I'm pretty sure that's when the show originated, but it did reruns like a lot.
Yeah, and I
We actually
fucking
had
love them.
yeah, we had the original VHS of the Iron Man show when it was his origin, the origin episode. I can't remember what the name of the episodes were, but it was like a two-parter. We had the VHS of that, and we used to watch that. That was one of the things that I became a fan of Iron Man.
Mhm.
And then the Super Nintendo game Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems, which by today's standards is not a great game. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse is a better Super Nintendo game if you want to play that style of beat 'em up. But that I didn't play Mutant Apocalypse until a couple of years after War of the Gems. And Iron Man in that was fucking stupid good because he had the projectile attack. But anyway, so
Yep.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Well, that
Yeah,
I like the classic suit up and stuff.
same.
I understand why they went the direction they did with like upgrading Iron Man's suit and everything like that to have more modern
Yep.
tech and stuff. Because the classic
Mhm.
Iron Man suit like basically just went like, I don't know how this is gonna fucking work, but it's gonna materialize on his body. So they just like flashed the section of his body where it was gonna pop on to be bright white, and then it would just be like, all right, chest plate's on. Next part. And I love it.
I really like in the animated series how it's the suitcase version of his armor.
Yeah.
So he just puts the shit on. I fucking love that. I don't know. Even to this day, that's like my favorite version of Iron Man, including like look of it.
Mhm.
I know for some reason a lot of people love the what is it, the Extremis armor look. Let me see here.
The one where that was the edition where his armor started taking more of a kind of rounded, bubbly kind of feature, which is what they used more so for like the original live action movie in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and that's fine and all. I'm not a super huge fan of it. Like it's okay. It's okay. It's not my favorite version of it.
Yeah.
I'm more into the bulky looking Iron Man, but I'm
Mhm.
fucking old, so.
Now, granted,
Anyway.
like after saying that, I agree with you on there. I like the classic style of him. I don't remember. I think it's in the background of one of them, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Because the helmet that he had in the animated series, his Iron Man primary suit that he would wear, had this decal on it. So like it had the shape of the mask, which was very similar. The yellow plating to the same shape of his actual like torso, and then at the top of it there was this like double lined, almost like a ladder looking pattern that went down the back strap of it. So it was designed very much like a kind of like oddly modded and finished helmet, where because one of the things you do when you're dishing out a helmet sometimes is that you would end up riveting it together if you only had a couple bits. The reason you do that is because it's easier just to cut two plates and bend them into shape and keep them relatively the same thickness, whereas if you're trying to kind of hollow out a single plate into like a cap shape, there's a very good chance that you end up stretching the metal in one spot more than the others, making a really, really weak indentation. So his helmet looked very much like what you would actually design for a
Like an
real
actual-
armored helmet. So I like that.
Okay, fair enough. And you know what? That's fair. I like I like your explanation of that too. That was actually really nice. It's always wonderful hearing your very sensual voice talking about armor and well, see the
You're the
thing. All
only
joking
person that
aside,
likes my nasally ass voice. Oh, you and this one random. You know how when you get like men get comments so compliments so infrequently that you hold on to them forever.
oh yeah,
Like when I first
still
started
holding
on
on to something
TikTok, I
like
was
10
talking
years
about
ago.
something that I thought was funny,
Hmm.
and somebody made a comment that they liked my voice, and I still like think about it every now and again because it was so nice for them to say
Well,
that.
well, hey, a compliment's a compliment. You gotta fuck. I'm still holding on to compliments from like 10 years ago, man.
Yeah, me too.
And I look, sound, and act completely different than I did then.
Mhm.
So,
I still think
but
about the 56-year-old black lady who patted my face and said I was cute. I was like,
no,
"Aw, thank
that's
you.
actually
Here's,
really sweet.
fuck it. Here, don't pay for your ice cream cone. I
Yeah,
got
it's
you."
like I got it. I actually got that actually reminds me slightly off topic, then I'll circle us back. I was at In and Out like 6 months ago, maybe,
Mhm.
and the people in front of me loved my dog, like the way Grayson looked so much
See, even that, no,
that
even take like the indirect compliment, like your dog is so cute, and it's like, thank
well
you.
well, here's the thing. They like, and I never saw these people, right? I don't have,
Mhm.
to this day, I have no idea what they fucking look like or anything. They thought Grayson looked so cute that they bought my lunch for me. This is a real ass story. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. If you never believe a damn word else I say the rest of my life, believe this. I was in the fucking drive-through. They thought my dog looked so cute. They bought my lunch. And I literally roll up, they're like, oh, people in front of you, they thought your dog was good. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm trying to hand the lady my card still. She's like, oh no, they got you lunch. I'm like,
What?
really? Like for real? Like they actually did? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna argue with that. Thank you. And I gave him a French fry. So there you go.
That's fucking awesome. I love that.
It all worked out.
Now,
But just
to tie this into the video a little bit here, one of the things that like kind of stood out to me in the video, and I actually really like this because
mhm.
there's got to be something. So like I have high hopes for She-Hulk, but I don't think I'm gonna get that because we're in the MCU phase 4, and I don't think they're gonna treat her like an actual human woman. I think they're gonna treat her like every other fucking strong female character that they've had before this, and overdo it with everything like that. One of the things that I actually liked from the um, initial trailer when she's in the like the floral pattern dress and her friends are complimenting her because even as a like fucking 7 foot tall green monster, she's still hot.
Right,
And
right. That was nice.
yeah, I thought it was cool that her friends were being really supportive of that, and she's just like, really, thank you, and I'm like, you know what? No, I like that because that's an actual human moment where you get a
Yep.
compliment and it makes you feel nice, and you're like, fuck yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else,
Yep.
not so much.
Yeah. Okay, so this would be a lot easier if I had. See, at least we're being honest. We don't have a fucking. Okay, the only exposure that I've had to She-Hulk, again, really, aside from maybe the comics on, off, and here and there
Mhm.
where she's happened to be in, right, that I've read. The only exposure that I really have of She-Hulk is from the Fantastic Four PS1 game, I think it was. Hold on, let me Google this real quick.
Okay.
Fantastic Four PS1. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna pop this into the
And
chat
I'll
here
add
so
it
you
into
can
the
hear.
rotation of the memes cycling through. But yeah, while he's doing that, so like inherently, I don't hate She-Hulk as a character because one of the things you run into with these characters when you're essentially kind of like aping the popularity of a different character onto one of these ones,
Hmm.
you run into an issue where you're essentially just relying on the fame of a more well known character to make your character seem so much cooler than they actually are.
Right, and that's a problem that well, I can't say it's just Marvel because DC does the same fucking thing. Their series are just not as popular at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's even arguable too because the Batman did well and Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad, but Marvel is more notorious for doing it. Again, until you get into like some of the Batman lines and like even the Flash and shit like that. But
Oh god, I had
Marvel
such
is the
high
most
hopes for the
notorious.
Flash, and then they took a huge shit on my head.
God, I mean, if Ezra Miller can't stop fucking punching people in fucking Hawaii, I don't think
Getting
that damn movie's
arrested.
ever gonna fucking come out. Yeah, man. Like, god damn.
Oh man, they really backed the wrong fucking horse on that one.
They keep backing the wrong horse because, well, you know, maybe not because supposedly Amber Heard's part in Aquaman 2 has been so cut down, she's barely in the movie at this point. So,
Great, now re-record all of her scenes with Emilia Clarke, and I'll be happy.
yeah,
Those two,
that's
at least those two, have some fucking chemistry together. Have you ever seen them
true.
sneak up on each other on red
Hmm.
carpets? They're like fucking children. It's
Hmm.
great.
Honestly, I could see her playing. Well, I don't know if I could see her playing Hera, but I guess I kind of.
They don't look
Hold
that
on.
different. Like look up the fan art thing of it, or like Emilia Clarke as Aqua Woman, or I can't remember what the dumbass tagline that they keep putting on it.
1 second. Themger is going to be jumping in here in just a second.
Awesome. Okay, good. They finally swapped it out. So Emilia Clarke as Mira. They don't really look that different from each other, side by side comparison wise, especially with all the makeup added and everything like that. So that and like this is gonna be an odd thing to say after I've said that sentence. So just to explain my meaning by it, because I know you'll understand it, but I know somebody who's like
Yeah, I can
slightly
kind of
more
see what you're
autistic than I am won't understand what I mean by this sentence. Even though they look very similar, Emilia Clarke is objectively more attractive as a person.
Well, I know she doesn't hit her boyfriends, as far as I know.
I mean, it would be impressive if she did. She's like fucking 4'8", but oh man, but no, I mean even yeah, all things considered, they realistically they don't look exactly alike, but they look enough alike that you might, if they dyed their hair the same color, you might mistake them for the other person. So yeah, it's and again, I don't mean like they look identical. It's more like the difference between Zoe Deschanel and her sister, who played Bones in the TV series with David Boreanaz. Can't remember her name.
Uh, rather. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Themgreer is going to be jumping on. He's having trouble getting into the actual.
I'll resend him the invite.
Okay. I sent him an invite as well. I don't know if it'll work, but
Should.
hopefully.
Only
I do see what you're talking
barely
about, though, with
private
Mira.
room.
Yeah, I do see what you're talking about with Mira and Emilia Clarke, though.
There he is. He's in the games channel.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, I guess we could pop over there, but
Yeah, let's pop over to that one.
okay.
Small ping. Hi.
Hey,
Yo,
how's it going, buddy?
In there for a second, I was like, "What's going on?"
Oh, I made a recordings one that was locked out unless you had an invite, so maybe it just wasn't working. You're a little quiet.
Okay, hold up. Let me see if I can fix that.
Okay.
Oh, that's
And we're only a half hour in, so you're not that late.
Nah. You're about where Tim jumped in at the end of the year off the cuff.
Yeah.
fully spaced.
It's alright, it happens.
No, you're good, dude. No worries. We were just talking about how much we love the new She-Hulk trailer.
The new Shield trailer.
Yep.
Yeah.
The new Shield trailer.
You're still kind of quiet.
That came out the other day.
Oh, the
The one everyone's been shitting on.
She-Hulk
basically.
attorney at law.
the greatest attorney ever next
Mhm.
to Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
We actually talked about him a bit too.
And Amber Heard's
alright, yeah.
lawyers.
Oh god.
Yeah.
She's gonna be somewhere in between those two.
Yeah. Fair.
Ooh.
To catch up to speed, what we were getting at is we don't necessarily think the show is going to be complete shit. I mean, we obviously haven't seen it because myself or Rec doesn't really have. Again, for the Marvel comics that I've read, I haven't read any She-Hulk aside from random one-offs she's been in here and there from other stories, and I've never really read that much Fantastic Four. And aside from Thing and Johnny Storm and Doctor Doom, I could really give a shit less about the Fantastic Four.
And I know her briefly from the crossovers with Deadpool and Hulk and some other. I think she barely mildly kind of in a few Spider-Man comics, but nothing really all that. More like big ensemble things than anything else.
So aside from that stuff, and we talked about the Fantastic Four game on PS1. Pretty much you're caught up. And then those for coming in late, those who are catching the podcast a little bit later.
Go fuck yourself. Start at the beginning.
Yeah, you can start all the way over.
Who the fuck starts a podcast 35 minutes in?
You know, it was funny.
That's a good point, actually.
I had just watched IGN's review of the trailer and their breakdown, and they
Mhm.
started off their video talking about how the release date got leaked, and they think that's why they pushed the trailer out so soon. And this is definitely a rough cut of it.
Ah,
I hope that to be true, because hot garbage, goddamn, that was just so hard to look at.
So I made the statement to Rec earlier saying that the image. So if you look into the general chat, there he had posted up a bunch of images and shit. The bottom image of her looking at her cell phone, it looks like a deep fake.
Yeah, it does.
Like it's supposed to be. It looks like it's supposed to be a deep fake, but it's not. It's what it's supposed to look like. Not like you trying to put someone else's face over it.
Yeah.
And they like stopped halfway. So I don't know if it looks like it needs to be blended in more. It's like they stopped halfway done doing they took some actress's face, turned it green, and said, "Okay, we're good. This is what we're going with."
I really do hope this turns out to just be a very early cut of it, and they only pushed it out because their date got leaked.
Right. And I like the premise of, and okay, considering Daredevil, it just got announced that they're going to be doing another Daredevil season for Disney Plus. I can kind of see the route they're taking this, you know, the whole lawyer stuff and the law side of superheroism and shit.
see, and I'm finally happy to see that part too, because it's forever been the most annoying fucking thing to me. One, I hate it how people like buy into whatever they hear so much in movies and stuff. We've talked about them before when it comes to like how people talk about things like Starship Troopers. Or they're like, you should be like them because they're Nazis, and I'm like, yeah, sure, he dressed them like Nazis, but the dumbass messed up his own story so bad that he made the he made the Nazi characters into libertarian utopists. So good job, dumbass. But then so on the same vein here too, it annoys me how people will just parrot that quote as if it somehow supersedes all of the shit you see in the movies. So like it genuinely bothers me that like the writers are so up their own ass with everybody doing like the Sokovia Accords and being so upset with the heroes for destroying our the alternative was enslavement by an alien race and a fucking demonic type god from a ancient civilization that you used to worship as fucking Nordic gods. So what the fuck do you think the best alternative was? The city gets a little trashed, or everybody on Earth gets fucking turned into Jello?
Well, and then it's funny that you bring up that we go back to worshiping the gods, and then obviously Thor's one of the Avengers. How do we feel about Moon Knight basically affirming that there are other afterlives and other gods aside from the ones that
Are you talking about Moon Knight?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I legitimately have no problem with it. I like it.
And then that begs the question, like, are they actual gods, or are they like the Asgardians, where they're technically aliens from another planet, and because of their power, they just seem like gods to us?
Well, see, this is the funny thing about Marvel. There are legitimate gods in
Oh
Marvel,
yeah, like
and
the one
demons,
above
and
all, and
I was about, yep.
Mephisto's technically one of them, and
all of the
He's technically
Celestials.
the devil, yeah.
all the
Isn't
Celestials.
the so I'm trying to remember. So the one above all is obviously the god of creation, and then there's the one below all. Um,
They had a weird bit where it was the same character, but I think they dropped that now.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, because I'm trying to remember because I know Mephisto is kind of like the devil of the Marvel universe, but then they have the one below all, which is like, supposed to be,
the real devil.
The real devil. And
There's the
ironically enough,
devil,
the
and then the devil
founder
devil.
of
Super
all of
devil.
the
Super devil.
Super devil.
gamma mutants. So anything vaguely
Right.
related to the Hulk is somehow directly tied to the one below all. I can't remember all the details for that part.
Oh, I think I vaguely remember that too. Yeah.
So, slight tangent. Did
Yeah.
you guys see Shang-Chi by chance?
No.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I've been
Rex, when
watching a
you
lot
get
of
the chance-
anime. I'm not trying to avoid any of the new stuff in Marvel.
Oh,
I am a bit done with it after Infinity Wars, but it's mostly just because I keep watching anime, and I'm like, this is actually making me feel like happy and enjoying
I
this
want to
thing.
come back to this anime point because I watched something that's usually out of my vein.
Oh, cool. Okay, we'll circle
But
back to that. What were you
continue your
gonna say
point,
though,
Nick.
Holy? Or
well,
Reb? Sorry.
I guess either one's fine. You know me. Yes, we definitely need to circle back to anime, but because I was just thinking of something else I've been watching too that I do want to talk about as well. So I guess that works out. Anyway,
On a side note, this is the most on topic we've ever been.
that's very true, actually. You know what? I think it comes with my most recent diagnosis. I'm trying so hard to stay focused now. It's like it's crazy.
Mhm.
I'll have to tell Them offline about that. I haven't had the chance to tell him yet. But what was I saying? Fuck. Oh, okay. I remember now. So
The irony of that moment. Anyway, I'm sorry.
right, yeah, God. If only you people knew. My thing is right, and people are gonna be pissed about me. And you guys know me. I'm a Spider-Man fucking fanboy.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of Marvel characters, I like a lot of them. Nightcrawler being one of my all-time favorites, but for me, Marvel, my favorite character, aside from Magneto, is Spider-Man. We're talking villains, Magneto. Hero, Spider-Man, easy.
Huh, not as good as Doom.
Fuck you
would
both.
beg to
Venom's the
differ.
best.
I would. Okay, if I'm gonna play grifter here, it's hard to. All three of them have equal strengths, right? But you guys are both wrong because it's Magneto. But anyway, so
I could start
circling back-
rapping that
Objectively,
Maximilian rap.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
the Doom versus Wesker.
Yeah.
Mm.
Doom runs a nation of slaves.
Which side
into
note?
a grave.
Which
Make a
side
bow
note? When you
look-
get the chance, later tonight, my new video is going to drop. It has nothing to do with what we talked about. And again, I know
yeah.
we both talked about this. We're not going to say anything, but you should watch the new video that I put out next
Yeah.
because there's a little reference to Marvel 3 in there.
Yeah.
Specifically for Them Greer that he's probably going to laugh about when he sees the background character, but you'll laugh, I promise. But anyway, I still think, to circle all the way back, I still think, again, Spider-Man being my favorite character, I loved No Way Home, but I still think Infinity War was the best Marvel movie.
They peak.
Gross.
I still think it's the peak. Yeah, I don't think it's been topped yet, and I loved No Way Home.
Great. It was absolutely.
Yep, but I still think in terms of Spider-Man movies, and I know a lot of Marvel purists out there who don't like Miles Morales are going to be pissed when I say this, but I still think Into the Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie made.
Oh God, yeah.
And because that's not technically part of the Marvel, I still have to give it to Infinity War. And I don't know if they're ever going to top that. I don't dislike the idea that they're doing Kang next, but if they got access to Doom and Silver Surfer and Galactus,
I don't think they could handle them. I really don't.
No,
They're too fucking stupid. And
Like,
I genuinely mean that as the biggest insult that I can. The writers for Marvel, outside of like the two directors who do the best work with this shit, fuck all of you. You're stupid, and you think you're smarty smarts, and you don't know how to fucking weave. Like you can't even weave like even something as basically intelligent as the entire plot of Death Note. Fuck you.
la, la,
You
la,
can't
la, la,
handle
la.
you can't handle the smart villains.
You can't handle it.
You
I'm
barely
wondering.
do Loki very well.
I'm wondering if, because okay, I know the Fantastic Four. I'm sorry. What's it called? The Ant-Man movie is supposed to have Kang in it. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if they're just basically okay. Because here's what I thought they were gonna do with Multiverse of Madness. Okay, have you guys seen it yet?
Not yet.
No.
Okay, I won't say anything. then.
Spoilers. Go ahead. I
What?
don't have any interest in it. Oh wait. Oh, sorry.
Well,
Them.
I
What
don't
about
want to
you?
ruin it for them. I don't want to ruin it for them. Because it is one of those that you guys should watch. Without as I mean, everyone knows the fucking Illuminati.
I can tell. Yeah,
It's
I can already tell you that I know all of the cameos. I know who's all in it.
right, and I'm sure you guys know what happens. But I'll spare everybody. I won't go into spoilers. But what I thought they were gonna do was the reason the Illuminati existed. They were gonna tie it into Loki, right? That they were gonna tie it into Kang, where Kang essentially, there was good Kang, and he, excuse me, created that time loop to eliminate the aspect of evil Kang ever coming, right? And what I thought they were going to do was when that broke, that was going to create the Illuminati, which would have been almost like the next failsafe. It's like, okay, since that barrier broke, now we have the Illuminati that's going to basically stop it. So, okay, this is the Kang is the oh shit line, and then the Illuminati is the oh shit line. And then once the Illuminati gets out of the picture, then evil Kang would come.
Oh,
Yeah.
But
shit.
they didn't, and they were going to explain that it's through that the mutants were created, and that would ultimately lead to the demise of the universe, right? But they didn't do that, and I think that was such a missed opportunity. I can't see them. I mean, we're fantasy booking, of course, but can
Yeah,
you
yeah.
guys see a better opportunity for them to bring the X-Men or mutants in general, or Doom, or any of that stuff in without it seeming, just, I don't know, lack of a better word, just kind of lame. I mean, what do you guys
I
think?
can think of one fan theory and one example from a TikToker that I thought was a perfect way to do this.
Mhm.
Just introduce them. Act like they've always been there. And the only reason nobody had ever talked about it before is because we were focused on the A-Team with the big world-ending events, and for until now, the X-Men were just handling like the small, who gives a shit, kind of off in the fucking Middle
The
East kind of
friendly
fighting.
neighborhood kind of shit.
Yes.
Which I'm okay with that. My only issue with that would be the Thanos issue, right? And here's the thing, because Marvel likes to obsess over the blip, and rightfully so, right?
Yeah.
But at this point, it's been 5 years. Okay, it hasn't been 5 years, but it's been a long ass time in real time since Infinity War came out.
Mhm.
Maybe it's been 5 years. I don't remember the exact date, but someone will correct me. But I think they need to move past that now. Like they go back to it so much now that it's become fucking annoying. So the issue now though becomes, why didn't they show up during the Thanos thing? And I get it. It was a quick time for that all to happen.
Mhm.
But even with Thanos' snap, it's not like he's going to snap away all the mutants, right? Because if the mutants are segregated into their own group, then theoretically only half the mutants would disappear. So how do you explain that? You know what I'm saying? Not you guys, but like in general, how do they go about explaining that?
You know, I always thought it was kind of funny how they add that up the way that they did, because realistically speaking, all Thanos wanted to do was like snap half of all life out of existence.
Mhm.
So it kind of makes you wonder, like, where exactly did the line go for that thing? So it's just like all living, sentient, humanoid type creatures. Half of you need to die on every single planet in the whole of space. Just half. I think it's kind of funny how, arbitrarily
actually a good
speaking,
question.
every single planet basically just lost 50% of its population, and not just, like there is a very good possibility that a couple of ethnic groups could have been completely wiped out during that snap, and they just did not address any of that.
That's actually a pretty good point. I never really thought about it from that perspective.
Yeah.
Ironically, basically what I'm saying is the snap was either just like they just went like, hey, it's just 50% of all life. That's just how the die rolled. We're not going to go into detail for it because it's not worth taking the time. Or they were trying really, really hard to try to go like, no, not every Polynesian person on the planet disappeared. Stop asking.
I think at this point they just need to kind of move on from the snap.
Yeah, just quit. Just get away from it.
I might be in the minority on that. That's fine. But they just need to move past. Now, to circle us back to She-Hulk, $10 says it's the best Marvel series ever.
I'm gonna laugh so hard if it is. I'm gonna laugh.
I
so
will too.
hard.
And you know what? I will buy us all a pizza party. I'm saying it right now. I will get us all a pizza party if She-Hulk is the best MCU thing.
Well, I'm tired of getting accused of hating women just because I don't like what they're doing with their female representation in these movies and stuff. Because it's like you're only making them female in name. All of your fucking strong female characters in Marvel are just fucking dudes with vaginas.
You
like
sexist, misogynistic piece of shit.
I know, right? It's terrible. It's like oh, forgive me for hoping and wanting moments where these people act like people and not just like fucking paragons of virtue all the time.
Here's the thing, man. If she didn't look like the lame version of the Jolly Green Giant, I mean, she would be fucking perfect. Like, what dude wouldn't fantasize about hot, tall, fucking buff, masculine, or not masculine, Freudian slip there, right? Buff, buff, muscular chick that can carry you around.
We already did. The entire internet did.
I put the meme.
Resident Evil 8 came out. When fucking Village came out, we all simped over the giant mommy.
We still do. And all Marvel needed to do was not fuck the face up.
Bro, they didn't even have to like make her super sexual, and they would have brought in all of the straight dudes if they would have just done it right, because all of the straight dudes want a big fucking sexy woman like that just carrying them around or stepping on them or fucking just generally treating them like the tiny person that they are.
That I don't
mind.
But
you cannot find me.
Well, everyone.
So this is something that I get. It's one of the funniest conversations I've had with a couple of the women that I've known in life. Because evidently, like when you actually form a friendship with a woman, shocker, that's possible. You can have a conversation where it's just like randomly. I love that this happens so frequently. Well, I say that like it happens like literally everything that I've ever met that has a vagina. But no, it's like literally like 3 occasions, but it's kind of interesting that it happened more than once. But on 3 separate occasions, it's come up in conversation with girls that I've been friends with. They're like, so what exactly is your type? And I always just go, yep. And it's such a difficult thing to try to explain that it's like, I don't care how tall or short she is. I don't care what her hairstyle is. I don't care what her personal dress style is. I don't care the types of things that she's into. I want to be involved with a type of person who is caring, supportive, strong-willed, intelligent, and, at least for my perspective, fun to talk to. Everything else after that goes out the window.
That's not a very, very demanding list.
Yeah, I know that's the worst part too, and that's, amazingly enough, I'm still single. But what I mean when I say this is that
travesty.
I'll like even in the memes for this too. If I end up with a lady who's like fucking 7 foot tall Amazon buff woman, I don't care if she's cool, she's cool. I don't if I end up with a girl who's shorter than me and I'm only 5'5" and she's fucking blue from Pluto. And I don't care.
Well, here's the real question:
she's nice and smells nice.
If the chick has a dick, is it still going to be the same way?
See, I feel like you're trapping me in a situational conversation that's going to get me in trouble. Because the short answer is I don't know. Because I've never met a trans woman that I
I'm just being
wanted
an
to sleep
asshole. I
with.
apologize.
That doesn't mean
You
that one of them
sexist
doesn't
piece
exist.
of shit.
I've
Sexist.
met one at my last job. I knew one legitimately my favorite manager to work under. I won't say their name, of
Right
course, for their own identity protection and stuff like that. But legitimately, like they were one of my favorite people to work with. And I remember when she came in to work one day, excited as fuck because they finally had saved enough money to get their top surgery.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
yeah, and they were just, it was just in time for summer, so they were like, I'm gonna fucking wear a bikini and I'm gonna be a slut this summer. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Hey, fucking man.
Like, that's an
I
interesting way to
apologize.
describe
I was
it,
being
but,
a fucking asshole a minute ago. I apologize.
No,
I was just having some fun.
no, you're good. I
Fuck.
you know me, I always
That
take
doesn't even make
everything
my
seriously.
requirements list.
Say again.
I said that doesn't even make my requirements list. Like, I have a dick. Fuck it. Do they still look like a sexy woman? Then that's fine and dandy.
Yeah.
Now here's the question: do you think they're gonna go that route with She-Hulk?
No,
I
know
based
they-
off
I
of
know
what I
they've
see
wanted
from the thing
to-
is that she's very. So what I gather from what I've seen of her in the comics is that she is very much like a woman, a career woman, who
Pretty sure
is unapologetically her own person, and I love that. If that's what they're going to carry into this, I'm looking forward to it. And I had mentioned it earlier when I was for just between me and
Hey,
Reb
Fem,
when we were talking.
I think your mic is still pretty low.
Is it?
Yeah.
A little bit.
That's a damn shame. Hang on, let me see if I.
Sorry, I
can
didn't mean
fix
to
it.
interrupt you there, Rec. I heard him trying to say something. I'm like, wait a minute, I can't fucking hear a damn thing he's saying.
But yeah, no, it's okay.
Keep going, my bad.
While he's fixing it, the moment, and it kind of worked out because the picture of it just popped up. The moment in the trailer where her friends are like complimenting her in her like little polka dot floral pattern
ass.
dress. I can't see it in enough detail to know if those are little like white flowers or if those are just little polka dots, but it doesn't matter. But the fact that they're like complimenting her because even though she's turned into a like fucking 7 foot tall bright green monster, they're like, you look great, and then she's like, thank you. I love that. That's the attitude there because I think that's what I would expect.
That's empowerment.
Yes, because if a girl
yeah.
randomly is going to turn into a giant fucking green ogre, I feel like the first thing that she's going to think is, oh my god, what are people going to think of me right now when I look like
Fucking
this?
ugly.
And if she gets positive feedback from that, she's probably going to be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I don't understand?
I don't think that's a bad thing.
What
Sorry,
I don't
go ahead.
understand, I'm actually going through and rewatching the trailer right now as we're talking. I just have the
Yeah.
volume super low. I don't understand why she looks so bad, but Gamora looks fine.
Because Gamora's
Like-
practical effects.
Yeah, because Gamora was all makeup and prosthetics, whereas she, in order to give her a bigger size, her proportions have been stretched.
Right, and I get that. Maybe that's why I'm wondering why they couldn't do the Okay, I get it. The actress they hired is kind of smaller and more dainty, but
Mhm.
I feel like they could, with practical effects, they could have easily fucking
At least
made
paint
her
her
as
fucking
big as-
face
But
green.
it would have gotten hard. It would have been hard because I did see a background video where not only did they increase the radius of her biceps, her forearms, her hands,
But the
like
length.
they
of everything,
lengthened them a lot. They lengthened her torso. They lengthened the width of her shoulders. Like they digitally enhanced the proportions of her entire body.
I guess my thing with it is like, I know we were talking about offline the like Lord of the Rings with the hobbits, right?
Yeah.
They made me believe that Elijah Wood was like 3 feet tall.
Oh yeah.
And then also, as a counterpoint to that too, in Black Widow, they made me believe the Taskmaster was a guy because in the comics he was, but I'm not gonna touch on that. But they made me believe that Taskmaster was a woman, at least by the end of it, anyway.
Well, that was the one where I kind of like it.
Well, it's clearly a guy. It's clearly
as
a
soon
guy
as
for
the
most of
helmet
it.
gets taken off and stuff, and I'm like, okay, they're just CGIing her face onto a dude. All of the scenes where the Taskmaster's moving around and stuff, I'm like, that's a dude. that is just straight up a dude, and they're just gonna take the girl's face and put her in some bulky shoulder pads and just try to pass it off like she's been doing this whole thing.
Right, and I guess my argument is I don't know why they couldn't do that with She-Hulk, like body doubles. They could film a majority of it, from her behind and shit like that. Not her ass, obviously.
Well, yeah, and don't tell me, and I'm tired of hearing, like, already, it's only been, like, 2 fucking days or something like that since the trailer came out, and I'm already annoyed with people saying, dead tapey women did. Look up Autumn Ivy right now on Instagram. You can check my followers list. I've actually met this girl in person. She could fucking play this. She could play this fucking character.
Yeah. I used to know her. She's cool.
She did the best Zarya cosplay I've ever seen. Yeah, she lived. I don't know if she still does, but she lived in Arizona, and I saw her at the Phoenix Fan Fusion. I met her through Panda.
Oh, right on. Okay.
Yeah, because he fucking knows everybody.
You knew Panda?
No, Panda, my friend Panda that I knew from my old job.
Not Birdo. No, different guy.
No, Panda. I heard you say Panda. I knew a guy named Panda as well.
No, specifically Sir Panda, different guy.
Kind of lanky, long hair, really egotistical air about himself.
Is this one Asian?
Fit. He might have been part Asian.
Different guy. You definitely know this Panda was Asian.
that is kind of funny, though.
That's kind of part of the joke for him, is that he's like, no, pandas are my favorite animal, and I'm Asian, so it works out. And I'm like, okay, I can't say that out loud, but I appreciate it. You're like, I'm part Hispanic, so my favorite animal is a Chihuahua. No, it's not.
I see him playing Apex right now, so.
Yeah.
Did you just say you're part Hispanic and your favorite animal's a Chihuahua?
Yeah, that would be. I told him that's what that would sound like. It was like, I'm Hispanic, so I love Chihuahuas. Like, so it works out.
That's actually really funny.
I don't.
That would be.
That's one of my.
That would be really
beliefs.
funny.
I don't think
that would be really funny though.
Sorry.
Well, okay, that's not true because of my pup. I used to dislike Chihuahuas, and then
yours
I got one that literally.
Yours is like if yours is a Chihuahua, it's like the rats of unusual size in Princess Diary, or yeah.
Gray is a rat of unusual size. Yeah, I kind of believe that. He kind of is. He's a good boy though. He's a good boy. Poor little boy's still sick, man.
Oh no.
Hope he gets better.
We're trying. I'm not trying to bring the mood down. So we'll shift topics here away from that. But yeah, freaking. I don't know, man.
Let's circle back to what you were going to say about She-Hulk. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I totally spaced on what I was going to say about that. But
you're good.
My thing is, okay, where else do you think? Okay, actually, I propose to say, here's my thing with She-Hulk, right? How does she look that bad? And again, I think the CGI is not done yet, and I think it's gonna look way better when it finally comes out. That's my guess anyway. But how does She-Hulk look so bad, yet the Hulk looks fine? Right?
They had time to finish him, I guess. That's my best guess.
I think because the only thing that they have that's marks is the face, where everything else was built from scratch, so it was easier. Whereas this one, they took the actress's body and just morphed it. And I think in that morphing it, instead of making their own separate body and then just overlaying her face like they did with the Hulk, it might have been better.
That's what they should have done.
I feel like this roundabout longer way to make it like, oh, we're gonna make it her because we're just gonna like digitally enhance her entire body.
Yeah, that'll be easier.
Should not have done that.
You should have just created a larger body and then put her face on it.
It would have been way better. The stretchy
Probably
thing
would have.
Well, because then all they would have needed to do is increase like the footage or the capture that they had of her face.
They did increase
by,
the feet. Don't you worry about that, baby boo.
No. Specifically, just if they would have built the body from scratch and just kind of overlaid it, and then took the image recording of her face and layered it over and just made her face like twice. Like I don't think twice the size is accurate, because technically the actress is like, what, 5'8", and She-Hulk is 6'7". So
I thought she was bigger than that.
I think she's 6'7". Hold on, it's something ridiculous, something ridiculously specific like that. Why is my caps lock on? She-Hulk is...
Oh, she is. Okay, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Say that one
I
more.
guessed right.
Sorry, I had to take the headphones off for a second. Pups were fighting.
You're good.
Uh,
But yeah,
What were you
yes.
guys?
I was talking about so all they would have needed to do, because the size difference between Jessica and her She-Hulk, I can't even call it a persona, because unlike the Hulk, when she turns in to the big green monster, she keeps her mental faculties, if I remember right.
yeah.
So she doesn't have the same problem as Bruce Banner, where she turns into like a grotesque rage monster. She just gets a little
Same
pissed off and
problem
then
she
turns into a slightly
used
more
to
roided out
have.
version of herself.
Yeah.
You know what I think is kind of sad, actually? Like, I'm
Mm.
looking up actresses that could have potentially played She-Hulk. Now, again, I'm not talking shit about this actress. I don't want anybody to get it fucking twisted. I don't know who this actress is. I've never seen her in anything else. And she might fucking blow me away, right? I haven't seen it yet. I'm willing to give it a shot.
Hmm.
As long as they fix the CGI.
Looks like she mostly does like some um like human piece movies, I guess would be the best way to. So she's been in Orphan Black. She was in Stronger.
Okay.
She was in an episode of Drunk History. Did voice work in Troll
Nice.
Hunters. Pink
Nice.
Wall. A Part of Everything.
So,
Yeah, so
I'm just
stuff
gonna
like that.
I'm just gonna throw an image of the person that I feel should have just played She-Hulk had they not been fucking blacklisted.
Okay. I
Right?
know who you're talking about already.
Is it
I-
gonna be?
a
Is it
really
gonna be
short
who
list.
I think it is?
Yeah, it might be. It might be. And we don't have to necessarily talk about her, but
If you're listening, you know who he's talking about.
oh
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, you could throw the
yeah.
image up there as soon as it pops up. But she
Oh, yeah.
literally could have just played She-Hulk. You guys can say the name now. I just
Yeah,
wanted
the
to-
only thing,
I'd-
if she
I'd
bulks
still
up like
s-
she did when she played Angel Dust, then yeah.
Yeah.
Angel, wait, not
Yep.
fuck, Angel, not Angel, Dust. She didn't play
Well, at least I knew
Heroine.
who you were talking about.
yeah.
Angel's fuck. God damn it! What was the other part of her name? Was it just Angel?
I don't remember. That's what Francis called her.
Angel Dust. I love
You're my
Angel
angel dust. Okay,
But
so
yeah.
can I take this moment to
Yes.
to really circle back to
Yes.
anime?
Oh
Because you
yeah,
said
go for it.
you were watching new anime. So I guess you could say that I went out of my comfort zone because you guys have known me long enough. Most of the anime that I watch are some sort of fantasy or violent or action packed, something like that. Yeah, big robots, explosions, shit like that.
Gundam, Berserk. Yeah.
Yep, you got it. So I started watching Spy Family.
I love Spy Family.
Fucking love it too. I got
Yep.
Kayla to watch it too. Kayla fucking loves it. We've
Yep.
been watching it each episode, each week as they come up. Oh man, I
watching it on Hulu?
absolutely fucking no. We have it on Crunchyroll, so
Oh,
but
nice.
we are watching the dub, so we're technically a week behind everyone.
Oh, that's fine.
That's fine.
Rek,
Nobody
have you
gives a
watched
shit.
Spy Family yet?
No, I've only seen a couple clips on like TikToks and stuff. It's on my list. I just need to finish Horiyama first.
Okay.
I
won't spoil anything. But
which I fucking
goddamn,
love that show because it's
Yeah,
such like
okay,
I know
we
it's a
just-
high school romance anime, Horiyama, but legitimately like it warms my heart how well things are going in that show, and I'm like genuinely waiting for somebody to like fucking get cancer or something because that's how these goddamn shows go.
that's usually what happens. Yeah.
But yeah,
But I will say, next to Golden Kamui, Spy Family is like my favorite anime / manga coming out of Japan. I haven't read or watched Demon Slayer. I know I'm behind. It's on my list. I'm getting around to it. But fucking Spy Family is so good.
Yeah.
I don't mean to take that from you, Themgr. I just had to fucking
No, it's fine. We
Sorry.
just finished episode 5 the other day.
nice.
And, we absolutely
small
love it.
spoiler for anybody listening to it, but there was a bit that I saw on TikTok, and this was the thing that sold me to actually like check out the show. But they, I think it's during an interview at the school where they're going to enroll the little pink-haired girl who's just absolutely charming, and this dude starts asking her about her birth parents, and she starts crying because she was abandoned, and it hurts her feelings
Aw.
to think about it. or at least that's my takeaway from it. And
Yeah.
the dad's reaction is to like he gets the fucking murder eyes, you know, where they constrict to be like the size
So
of pin needles, and then he
both of
punches
theirs
the
do,
table
yeah.
and cracks his knuckle on it and just goes, "I'm sorry, I saw a fly."
Was a mosquito.
Mosquito, I swear
Yeah,
to God.
no, the shitty teacher asks the little girl, uh,
What do you
who
rate
he
them on a
likes.
scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, who he likes more, her real mommy or her new mommy, and she immediately starts to cry, and both Lloyd and Yor get murdery and look like they're about to charge at this motherfucker. It just that whole scene, the whole episode, just everything about the show, it just tickles me pink.
Mm-hmm.
I love the humor in it. It's so good.
I love how it's like it almost makes me laugh because I feel like I feel like a lot of the animes and stuff are somehow accidentally like 3 to 5 years behind some of the bullshit stories that they've tried to do in Hollywood. So Spy Family is probably what Black Widow was trying to do and failed miserably at.
Yeah.
I just remember Scarlett Johansson smacking her face into the desk.
God, that's so
Yeah.
fucking stupid. Yeah,
Oh,
my
so
pheromones.
say guys, I saw this video today, and I don't remember the actual timestamp. I'd have to look it up.
Uh-huh.
But in this video, this guy was asked, "What's your favorite movie scene ever?" And he's like, "Zombieland at like 18 minutes and some odd seconds when fucking curly-haired motherfucker's actor, I can't remember his name."
Um,
You're talking about the dude from like the Social Network, like the main character?
yeah.
Yeah. The main character in
I don't remember his
Zombieland.
name. I'll look it up.
Fucking Columbus.
Eisenberg.
Yeah, Jesse Heisenberg. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, Heisenberg.
So in the scene where he takes the back of the toilet and whacks the girl who's turning into a zombie, do either of you remember what or which actress was playing that girl who just got her head turned around by the top of a toilet by Jesse Eisenberg?
Was it
Amber Heard.
Amber
It's
Heard?
Amber Heard.
Is it weird that I knew that offhand?
That's actually kind of hilarious. That is actually kind of hilarious. And rightfully so. All things considered, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with that. I mean, clearly Rec has, but
I've been watching a lot of the short videos that have been coming out of it that kind of are summarizing each of the days. So,
What-
but by the looks of it, the most recent one where Heard was she finally got basically caught in a lie where the audio and what she's telling everyone is not matching up, and it's honestly
God.
looking like she's on the ropes.
Yeah, you dude, it's so bad at this point that pretty much her entire
Objection,
role.
Hearsay.
Huh?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Wait.
It's
Yeah, okay.
question.
Okay.
Fucking love that. That was the
whole-
best moment in the whole thing.
I remember I was getting
Objection,
memed.
hearsay.
I was
You
like,
asked the question, you dumbass.
you
Yeah.
fucking idiot. Your team sucks.
A mega pint of wine.
Like, my God, you should have just fucking said you did it wrong, because at this point you're looking fucking worse than if you would have just come out as like a fucking beater.
Honestly, you know the and I know this is funny to say or ironic to say given all the other shit that lawyer said, but the one where I was finally like lost it with Heard's lawyer is when he basically went off on, I think it was Johnny, on his testimony and threatening him like, hey, stop wasting our time, blah blah blah, like you're wasting the court's time and yada yada. And it's like, I'm sorry, do we not remember the other day when you wasted almost 10 minutes of the court's time looking for a document that you couldn't fucking find? And you have the fucking audacity to say that he's wasting the court's time? Go fuck yourself.
Like, it's,
I
dude,
think he was
it
done
is-
with their shit after like day one.
Mhm. The whole thing, it should have never gotten this far. Like, the most damning evidence came out the day after she said that he was beating her. Because like she got caught on tape making fun of the whole situation. And it's like, dude, how do you even get this far? Like, how? Like, And the fact that there's people out there that still believe he actually did something, it's like, yo, I mean, aside from fucking actually being there, it's pretty much, again, anything's possible. Maybe there's some evidence that comes out tomorrow where I'm gonna look stupid, but I mean, aside from fucking being there, we pretty much all know exactly what happened between the two. Like, it's so fucking transparent at this point. Like,
they've done nothing but like make this whole thing become apparently.
I mean, if
prevalently
anything,
bullshit.
it's brought Johnny Depp's career back. I mean, like, the man was basically blacklisted up until about a week ago, and now he's finally kind of getting unblacklisted. If I were him, I would tell everyone to fuck off. If I'm being completely honest with you.
But no, Ezra Miller
very
can punch a
clear
girl
that
in the
he's
face
going-
and get arrested and still get a fucking job somehow.
Right.
Right. God. You know what's sad about that is I'm actually really looking forward.
Man.
Say that.
It's because they're technically not a man.
Oh,
Ezra.
right, because they're they, yeah.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, that's literally the only reason why.
They
Fuck you,
identify as
Ezra.
gender neutral.
I'll fight you. You're 2 feet taller
Well-
than me, you scrawny bitch.
Yeah.
I'd be careful, man. He'll actually come after you.
Bring it on, you lanky son of a whore.
He's gonna come after you and like start like trying to juke around you, be like, "I'm fast as fuck, boy! I'm fast as fuck, boy!"
You know what's sad though?
I don't
is
even
I'm
punch
actually,
that fast or that hard. I still feel like I have a fucking leg up.
Well, okay, here's why I'm sad about the Ezra Miller thing. And it's the fact that, okay, Black Adam is one of my like all-time favorite DC characters, right? And I'm fucking hyped for the Black Adam movie. So I was really looking forward to the reboot of The Flash, but and again, I know Black Adam's not going to be fucking in it, but they're going to have to reboot the whole series, is basically, essentially, right? And
I hope they take a clip of him running and then have him morph into another person
I think
as he goes
that's what
back
they're
in
gonna
time
do.
to reset the fucking DC movies.
I think that's what they're gonna do, honestly.
I'm gonna laugh my fucking ass off.
At this point,
And I hate all the negative publicity coming towards DC because, like, with Amber Heard, Ezra Miller, and it's like, motherfuckers, Peacemaker was good. Black Adam's coming out. That looks fucking awesome. The Batman was great.
yeah, it was.
I love Reload, but I don't care what he says. I think the Batman.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great.
I still want to
Yeah.
argue with him about that on one of the off the cuffs. He needs to actually show up so I can give him shit.
And we will. We will.
Well, he gave a pretty decent-ish reason as to why, but we all basically were like, "Yo, here are all the things that happened in the movie
that explained it away. Yeah.
explain away those complaints."
Yep.
So logically speaking, because we pointed out pieces of the movie that disprove or completely show the opposite of his arguments, logically he likes the movie.
I don't
It's
think
my
he,
logic.
I don't think he cannot.
If those were the reasons why he disliked it, and we completely disproved all of those reasons, then logically speaking, he
Right.
likes the movie whether he admits it or not.
Because
And
I've
here's
been
the thing.
accused of this too, where it's just like you just like disliking things.
Yeah,
I've been accused of that before.
yeah. So sometimes I do rib him a bit and tell him that he did. And Reload, if you are listening, I do
Love you, buddy.
dearly.
Well,
But
that's why I don't
disagree
necessarily
with you
do
here.
more.
sometimes I do feel like he does just like, "Oh, I hate it because I hate it. It's dumb just to hate it."
That's fair. And again, you know me, I'm not gonna say too much because I'd rather him be here if I'm gonna
No,
make my
absolutely,
arguments.
absolutely.
You know. But I know he did the one thing he did say is he just I feel like he just doesn't like Robert Pattinson, and that's fine. That's fine. I
fair,
think he's
That's
underrated
fine
as
and dandy,
fuck.
But he's still one of those people that only hates him because of Twilight, and it's like,
Right.
bro,
And okay, can I have a moment?
That's not
to
true. I
gloat?
hated him as Cedric Dickory, so
yeah.
Will
I
you
have
guys,
it out.
Would you guys mind if I took a minute to gloat? Like
Yeah,
just
go
1
for
minute.
it.
Do the
I
old
made a
boy.
fucking video on my Holy Hitman channel years ago saying everyone was going to be fucking wrong and everyone was going to eat their words. And I'm like, you guys are being way too fucking hard on Robert Pattinson being Batman. And I guarantee you when it fucking comes out, everyone's going to be like, it's the best Batman. And what fucking happened?
It came out, and everyone said that
They
it was
showed
the
you his
best Batman.
cheeks, and everybody was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yep. I literally told everyone this is the exact same goddamn thing they said about Heath Ledger 10 years ago. That
Absolutely.
it's going to be shit. And what do you know? I was right. I know, and I'm still waiting for text messages from motherfuckers that disagreed with me. And
Yeah.
I've got nothing. And of course, I'm not going to because
I got receipts, bitch.
I do. I do. The video's still up there. It is. I'm never taking it down because I called this shit years ago. Okay. My
I don't
gloating is
like,
over with.
and the worst part is I hate saying this too because like it's gonna sound at the face of it like I have no consistency. So like I love Wes Anderson movies,
Mhm.
and I love a lot of the early like 2000s and even some of far back as some of the 90s attempts at making
Right.
comic book and video game movies, stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I really disliked Christopher Nolan's Batman series a
Hey,
lot.
I need to. I would like to ask why.
Yeah, I'm
Because
curious.
I like it a lot. Now, part 3, okay, that one's not that good. I'll be honest with you. I
Oh, no,
I don't
I
dislike it.
dislike the first one the most. The second one's the best,
Really?
obviously, and the third one's a close second for me.
Interesting.
Sam, I would like to.
Okay.
So
Wow.
I'll give my quick.
Why would you
my
say
quick.
something so controversial yet so true?
Because I think of things
Okay.
objectively, and I'm also an
Like, don't get me
unapologetic
wrong,
asshole.
I love
I'm
the
just kidding.
first
That's
one.
really fucking
Yeah.
like I'm super biased, and I need
That's
to
fair.
at least
No,
explain
and
my
that's fine.
bias first.
No,
But
that's
no,
fine.
please,
That's fine.
you go ahead. You go first, and then I'll explain
Okay.
the reason
So-
why I dislike it.
So I feel like them should take the lead, but I'll give my opinion real quick because them's more of the Batman, the biggest Batman guy here. I will say that. I will concede them knows more about Batman than I will. But what I will say, in my order of liking the Nolan films, it goes Dark Knight, then Batman Begins, and then The Dark Knight Rises. I still think Batman Begins is pretty underrated. I know it gets shit on quite a bit, but I think it's great. Dark Knight classic. Dark Knight Rises, they fucked Bane up. They almost got him right, but when he
Well,
gets
to be
shot,
fair,
he
the
just
only
gets
thing that was
killed.
missing was the lack of a South American, uh, like aggressively Hispanic
Right.
accent.
Right.
That
Tom Hardy, I thought was fine.
and the fucking actual use of venom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Which I
fucking
thought
dumb.
they were gonna talk
So-
about. That was what's in his mask. That there's like an herb complex concentrate drug that he's using in there. It's very similar to steroids, but also very similar to opioids. So he's highly addicted to it. It dulls his pain and it raises his strength immensely.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's just life support.
Yeah, no,
Just
it's,
like
it's just a
No,
fucking gas
just
mask.
just
basically.
painkillers.
Yeah,
Yeah, no. So I would mostly agree with Holy's assessment. Like definitely the Dark Knight, and then Begins, and then Rises, and like Reb knows, like fucking
Mhm.
Bane is my absolute all time
Yep.
top favorite Batman villain. And
Yep.
it was all because the old Nightfall comic. That Nightfall
Yep.
comic was fucking phenomenal. I loved it.
It's
Still my
it's
favorite as of today.
it's a classic story,
God,
but
yeah.
continue.
So don't get me wrong. I thought Tom Hardy did fantastic. Sure, they didn't do
Same.
Bane completely right. There were some of already mentioned fuck ups on it, but thank the fucking gods they did better than fucking Joel Schumacher, that fucking garbage ass director. Okay, he's not completely garbage. He has made some good movies.
No,
But
and,
hot
and
Falling
damn,
down being one of them. And
Yeah.
I like Batman Forever, but
And
But-
hold on, he did the Romeo and Juliet movie, right?
yes.
Oh,
I
the one
fucking
with
love
Leonardo
that movie.
DiCaprio?
I love like really stylized movies. So obviously that's one of my favorites.
That's
So-
probably why I still like the first couple of Transformers movies.
Gross. But I respect you for having that opinion.
But
Wait.
I definitely think the
Schumacher
Bumblebee
was
one
a
looked
pro-
better.
No, I just aggressively hate Michael Bay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so much.
Have you guys ever watched The Rock? Not
No, I
Dwayne
love The
Johnson, the movie
Rock.
The Rock.
I love The Rock. but it's
Okay.
The Rock is good. Swap out Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery for any other actors, and that movie does not work. Oh, and fuck, I forgot his name. The guy that played Ringo. He's only in the movie for like 12 fucking minutes.
I don't know.
He played Ringo in Tombstone, and he just recently
Yeah, he just trended on Twitter. What's his fucking name?
If I remember right, he also played like his to my understanding his
Ed Harris. Ed Harris.
That's it. His two most famous roles are Ringo from Tombstone and Kyle Reese in the Terminator movie.
Yep.
Fucking phenomenal.
No, Ed Harris is not. Ed Harris isn't Kyle Reese in Terminator.
He's not.
No, it's a different actor.
It's gonna bug me. I'm looking it up because it's gonna annoy the shit out of me because they look a lot alike in my head.
Kyle Reese. His name is Michael Biehn. He was in Aliens.
That's why I got. Oh man, that's embarrassing for me.
Fun fact. That image of Kyle Reese in I'm sure fucking everyone knows this. AVGN talked about it like years ago, but the picture of Kyle Reese at the very beginning of Terminator when he's back up against the wall is the same image they stole and used from Metal Gear, the NES version in North America. They literally just stole it, recolored it to make it cartoon art, and put it on the cover. So,
God, the 80s were a wild time for fucking plagiarism.
So here, I'm gonna pull a picture up. You remember the original box art from Metal Gear on NES?
Yeah.
It's completely lifted from Terminator.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, it's literally just Kyle Reese, NES cover Terminator. It's literally just a screenshot from fucking Terminator. They lifted it and then just redrew it and made it the fucking Metal Gear box cover. I'm putting it in the chat. Hold on. It's fucking hilarious. Like, okay. Man, Gina Carano was fucking.
Holy shit.
It's literally just straight up fucking lifted. And which makes sense because Hideo Kojima is a huge fuck. Now, okay, I know the North American Metal Gear was basically disavowed by Hideo Kojima, but Hideo Kojima is a huge action movie fan, and I know he loves Terminator, so it kind of makes sense, even though I know he completely disavowed the North American version, so I don't fucking know.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, you're not going to love everything. You're not going to be happy with everything.
No.
Fuck, even in the story that I'm writing based off of the one that you and I came up with and everything, that I know for a fact somebody's going to write some gross-ass fan art about some of the characters fucking being shipped together and stuff, and I'm going to be fucking unhappy with it. Or somebody's going to make a piece of shit that's going to reference how much they love one of the characters in the background or something, because it's like a super niche underground thing. However it happens, I know somebody's going to make something, and I'm going to be like, no, don't do that.
I'll put it to you this way, right? So, you know how I have minor ties to the Sonic community? From people that I know, right? Minor ties.
Minor ties. You
didn't
didn't fucking mediate one of the largest fucking community bitch sessions that ever existed for the Sonic community.
For 2 days, mind you. For 2 days. It was like 14 hours each day. But no, it absolutely didn't happen. Definitely not called the Sally Accords. At least that's what I called it. But like I said, minor ties. Even they, because there's some of them that I still keep in contact with. Obviously, there's a lot of cool people in that community and fandom. There's some shit for sure, but there's some cool people there. A couple of the groups, they have their own like fan comics, and I'm in some of their Discords. And I'm mostly a lurker. I don't say too much, but I am there. I do check them out every once in a while. Yeah. Artistically, they do some really interesting shit. The Save for Work stuff. I don't check out the NSFW shit. But anyway, now that I've covered my own ass, basically,
I'm not gonna lie. I've fucking seen it.
Yeah, even despite
I'm not into it, but I've seen it.
Even with that, even they have OCs, like, and this is all fan projects and fan stuff, and they create like fan OCs that they put in their comics. even they have issues with people creating fan art based off of their fan OCs that are in fan interpreted work. If that's not a fucking tongue twister, I don't know what is. But yes, they even have issues with that. So your stuff, when it becomes published work, will absolutely. The point I'm trying to make is, there's going to be a lot of people that want to have like gay sex with certain characters.
If it exists, there will be porn of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh shit, that's like one of my favorite little rumors and stuff too. So this always bothers me how many times this has happened to me in life. But I get into something, I really enjoy it, and then I either find out later on that there's been this subtle subtext thing in it that was super obvious to a lot of other people, and it turns out that that subtle subtext was basically just the super watered down version of some like incredibly vigorous, gross shit that the author wanted to make instead, or vice versa.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, best example that I can think of, because oddly enough, you were there when I was having this conversation with two people. You were just speaking. Oh. You were speaking with the cashier that we were friends with at Dr. Fantasy's Comics.
Oh, R.I.P. But
yeah,
okay.
I miss that place so much.
Oh, which one, Danica or Nikki?
Nikki.
Oh, okay.
But so I was talking to two people. We started talking about Magi, the manga, because I thought it was
I love Magi.
Yeah. That conversation started with me pissing Nikki off because I thought it was funny because Magi is not how you say that word, and I always think it's great how weebs in America are so obsessed with the proper pronunciation of Japanese words.
Mm-hmm.
But Magi is not a fucking Japanese word, so everybody's saying an Arabic word or Arabian word incorrectly because it's in a manga, and I love it. It's great. So I thought that was funny that I pissed her off with that one, because she was one of those weebs that was super into being very specific
Nikki?
about the pronunciations.
That was just Nikki, man. And hey, if she's listening, hey, congratulations on the marriage and stuff.
Oh,
I know that was like a year ago, but
love you both. Your your boyfriend turned fiance turned husband is legitimately one of the sweetest people I've ever met, and I'm happy for you.
Really was a nice guy. Danica's doing pretty good too. I still keep in contact with her. I guess I won't say her last name on here for obvious reasons, but yeah, she's doing good too.
That's good.
But you know what's funny? You know the only reason I know the word Magi? Mm-hmm. It's because of it's because of the fucking mummy. And
yeah.
I don't want to say too much, but I'm working on a video at the moment, which won't come out for a couple of weeks because I'm balls deep in other shit. But I've found, and you can look this up, no one's reviewed it yet. I have found the movie, the first. What's up?
No one's really? No one has?
No. They've reviewed The Mummy.
Oh.
But I have
Definitely
found.
not. The entire cast is so unbelievably sexy.
And this is very true. But I have found the very first movie that Emotep, not the character, but the actor, ever played a villain.
Oh, wow.
And no one's ever reviewed it.
Amazing.
And I have found it. And the only reason I found it was because my good friend, who you guys know, who I work for, over at Wrestling Bios, because I bugged I bugged the shit out of him one day. Love you, Ryan. Sorry I made you do this, but I bugged the shit out of him one day because he's really good at finding really obscure bullshit. Because this movie is so fucking obscure. There's no DVD releases of it. There's not torrents of it. It's not streaming anywhere. The only way you can get this fucking thing is on VHS and Laserdisc. And
so
here's
he found
the
a more obscure thing than fucking Monster High.
Yes.
Oh my god.
He did, and he found a digital version of it. I don't know how he found it. He kind of told me how he did, but like, this thing is so fucking obscure that the Laserdisc version of it, which is considered a rare Laserdisc, which isn't that expensive, by the way, but it's considered a rare Laserdisc, is more common than the VHSs.
Wow.
That's how stupid this fucking movie is. And what blows my mind is that not that many people know about this movie. And I found it, and I'm gonna be reviewing it. And it's okay. I'll give you the tagline, or I'll give you the premise. Emotep if he was a serial killer.
Interesting. Okay.
And it's a B grade action movie.
All right, I'm down. That sounds cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
It,
astonishing.
yeah, oh yeah.
On a side note, I need to clarify: the Monster High that I'm talking about is not the Bratz doll like animated series thing. It is a movie that was made in the shit. What decade?
It was the 80s.
80s. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
It
it was
was made in
absolutely
the
the 80s.
80s, and it's
I
legitimately.
think we had this exact conversation too.
Yeah, I always have to toss that out there. Okay, like literally the ass end of the 80s. I just looked it up because I couldn't remember if I got the name right for it. Monster High 1989, and not to be confused with the Bratz Monster High, because this one is literally the best shitty scary movie I've ever seen in my life.
I agree. And ironically, no one's reviewed that yet either.
Yeah, we need to do that for that. Well, I don't know if you want to talk about it now because we got plans for something specifically related to that.
We'll get around to it eventually.
Okay. Right now, we'll
yeah.
focus on terrible MCU shit and whatever else we decide to talk about.
Yes. Yes.
More
like
to come later, folks.
Yeah.
All 10 of you.
You know, right. Well, you know, the nice thing is once this, which you both know, the little project I'm working on right now is once this is done, and it's not just the one you guys are, you know, thankfully are aware of, but there's like 3 other videos that go along with that. Once this major project is done, it's one of those things that it's nice because once it's finally done, I can put it out of the back of my fucking mind and work on the other stuff that I've talked to both of you guys about.
Yeah.
And it'll be so much nicer to have that free headspace. Will be just
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, man.
But anyway, I'll shut up.
But anyway, so I guess because we're at the hour and a half mark, I guess we could kind of look for, I guess, closing thoughts on what the prediction is for She-Hulk and what we hope happens instead. Because we've touched on that here and there in different parts, but whoever wants to go for it, go for it.
I'll just say I hope it's good. I hope it's good. I don't want it to fail. I like Marvel shit. I think the direction they're going is a little scary. But I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's dead on arrival. We have to wait to see it. I just hope it's good. Give me a reason to read up on She-Hulk comics. That's all I'll say.
I gotta agree with the Holy Reb here, and I do hope it's good because I may not know a whole lot about She-Hulk other than what I've seen from reading other stories or playing video games where she's mentioned, but I don't want it to fail either because overall I've been liking a vast majority of what's coming out of Marvel. Sure, they put something out occasionally where I'm just like meh, and I'll skip it. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Like fuck, I was excited for every new episode of Loki. I was excited for every new episode of Hawkeye. I was excited for every new episode of WandaVision. I was excited for every new episode of Moon Knight. I even watching some of the movies post Infinity War. Sure, I never went and saw them in theaters because I wasn't as excited for those ones.
Right.
But I still got around to watching them and was just like, oh hey, you know, I'm kind of digging the direction they're going in. These are pretty good. So overall, I also hope that it doesn't fail because if it fails, then they might close other potentially really good stories and heroes that I may have really wanted to see.
Yeah.
Let me add one extra note. You reminded me of something I was gonna say too.
Go ahead, because I'm gonna take a couple minutes for mine. So
for sure, my apologies. I don't mean to.
No, go for it. Go for it.
If you guys haven't watched Shang-Chi yet, I know there was a lot of heat against it. I was even against it at one point.
Liked it.
It's good. Watch it. I don't understand why it got as much hate. Okay, again, the main actor, he was shooting his mouth off. I get it, but it's actually pretty good. I think in terms of Phase 4, if we're not counting Spider-Man, just the regular Marvel movies, I think it's the best one.
Yeah.
It's that good. It's a kung fu action movie. I enjoyed it, but
It's a good kung fu action movie.
it is. It's actually really fucking good. It's not what I thought it was going to be, but it was still really good. It actually shattered my expectation. I was actually genuinely surprised.
Okay.
But that's it. That's all I had to.
I'm gonna tie mine into the explanation for why I didn't like the Christopher Nolan Batman series, because it's a reoccurring thing with all of these Marvel high budget movies that are coming out. Not even just directly from Marvel, but pretty much every studio.
Okay.
I rewatched all 3 of the Blades recently, and 2 things really stuck out to me in comparison to the comic book movies that were made post Blade. And you could see some of the initial issues with that starting up in that movie. Where, you're kind of getting to the point where, like, okay, you finally introduced the big bad, and you've changed him so much from the comics that he doesn't really match up with what you want and what you expect. Ra's al Ghul is a fantastic example of that, and it will always annoy the fuck out of me how I watched the animated series since I can physically remember watching them. I think the very first one that I remember seeing was the Batman animated series made in the 90s. And I remember my uncle used to make trips to Walmart all the time and everything like that, and he'd grab something out of the $5 movie bin. So a good amount of the movies that I watched were old re-releases of shit that was made way back in like the early days of color TV through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So I got to see a good amount of the original Batman TV series. And you're going to see a lot of the opposite of this, too, because in there, you had a lot of normal-ass people being actors, playing their characters, and the writing had to be a certain level of clever, even if it didn't totally make sense with the way things work commonly in the world. You can kind of see some of that stuff getting slipped past. Like, how exactly does the Penguin get a giant submarine that's shaped like a penguin without anybody being aware of how the fuck that guy made that happen? So, nobody thought it was odd that somebody was ordering a military-grade submarine and then asking for a custom order shell on it that was shaped like a fucking penguin? Nobody? Okay, cool.
Well, what's funny? I actually, to jump off that, I've actually been reading through. I actually have the issue right here. Hold on one second. I've actually been reading through the Batman, the Cape Crusader paperbacks. And it's volume 6. It's the one with Scarface and Ventriloquist. I've been on a Scarface kick, but part of the story is basically when Ventriloquist and Scarface come out of jail. They basically have a fucking military tie, or a tie in with the military, and they basically get like a fucking, I think it's like a tank or a super armored like vehicle, and they just bomb the fuck out of their competition. Like they just straight up bomb the fuck out of them. And they can't tie it back to them because it's like, oh, well, Ventriloquist is reformed. You can't do shit. Sorry, it was just funny you mentioned that, and I just got done reading the story. It's issue, for the people that want to know specifically, it's issue 475 to like 477, I think, for Batman. But anyway, my apologies. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. So that's a good that's kind of a good segue into the next part here too. So
Okay.
If you're going to go for, and this ties it, so I love stylized movies. So you'd think at the face of it, I would really love some of these comic book movies that were made when they were trying to make them like, okay, so basically we're going to take what they did in the comics and put it on the screen. Well, Schumacher pretty much let everybody know that wasn't going to work. And unfortunately for the vast majority of audiences, they would rather have some type of hyper-realism that, in my opinion, really ruins the fucking character to a certain extent.
Okay.
The other part of it is that you can't give me this hyper-realism. You can't tell me that you're going to put this character through all this training and have all this extra stuff happen in this, and then film it in such a way that I can't see 38% of what's happening in the fucking movie. Lol. I hate the 2000s era shaky cam action scene so fucking much. and that is just all over the Batman, the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
Aside
think
from that,
okay.
the writing's good.
Okay.
The characters look great, but it's these little things where they've clearly sacrificed the quality of the material that they're producing for the like just they put all their chips into the reality, like trying to make this as real and gritty as possible, that they forgot to have fun with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So sorry, what
That's
were you
fair.
gonna say?
No, it's okay. I don't. I wasn't necessarily disagreeing. I think it really because I do kind of agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, it just kind of depends on the movie. I mean, you guys know me. I'm like an avid like found footage horror movie fan. I know even like the really
Yeah.
shitty ones, I still find kind of like. Um, so I guess the shaky cam stuff doesn't bother me as much when it comes to stuff. I kind of again, it depends on what the. I think it just depends on what the context of how they put the film together. Like
Is it kind
if
of
we're
like how I
watching.
didn't like the Eric Andre show until I realized it was like absurdist humor, and then once you have that, when if you've presented it in a way that it has the right framing, that people can kind of catch on to it, they can go back and look at it and be like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah, I think in that sense that maybe I think so because I'm looking at it like okay, one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's probably going to shock some people, but it's Cloverfield, the original with the giant monster.
That is really
Um,
interesting.
it's I know it's crazy. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's not a masterpiece. It's not even that great of a movie, but the ride and the rush I get from watching it every time, it's fantastic. I don't recommend watching it like really close to the TV because the shaky cam is fucking ridiculous in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just something about the shakiness and them running from a giant monster. It just feels really good. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I know. It's even weird of me like thinking, but it's something I had to like really come to terms with a couple years ago. Go back and watch it and go under the guise of okay, if I was some asshole, and you have to suspend your disbelief because if I'm in a situation where a giant monster is attacking my city, the last thing I'm gonna fucking do is record the entire thing. If I'm just
Yeah.
being completely honest, suspend that disbelief and pretend that okay, you are that asshole and you're gonna run around with the camera on the entire time. I feel it would look exactly like that.
Yeah.
Shaky, dark, and a pain in the ass to see. But I think it kind of works in its favor because they need to hide some of the cheaper, bullshitty effects because some of the effects are not good in that movie.
Yeah.
Um,
You can
so I
clearly
think,
tell where they spent their money because all of a sudden the shaky cam
oh
gets
yeah,
really stable.
oh yeah, yep, exactly. And I think in situations like that, the shaky cam can work. However, a point in your favor again, I'm not trying to dawdle on too long because I know this is
You're
your final thoughts section, but
You're good.
I think a point in your favor though is if it's just shaky cam for the sake of it. Like again, I think Batman Begins is the second best of the Nolan trilogy, but some of the shaky cam fights, even I can admit, they're kind of
Yeah.
shit. They're
Absolutely.
they're kind of hard to watch.
Yeah. And to its benefit, I think that one's the best one because of the change that they made into it. So I think they took the negative feedback that they were getting from the way those fights were playing out, and they were focusing a lot more on having Batman being essentially the demon in the darkness for the criminals. So when he's showing up, he's just off in the distance, scaring. So the initial introductory fight scene with him, where he's just kind of popping out and snatching them into the darkness, and it's fucking horrifying to the guys that are still trying to find him and trying to carefully sneak around without walking straight into the trap and everything like that. The moment in the first movie where the dude's freaking out, firing off into nothing, going, "Where are you?" and then he just pops up behind him. Here, that was perfect. That was fucking
It
peak
was a really good moment.
Batman.
It's
Yes, exactly,
the most Batman-y thing ever.
exactly. The rest of the
Yeah.
movies they focused a bit on Bruce Wayne and his public persona, and I felt like they rushed a little bit to Old Man Batman, and they didn't fucking need to. I get why they
Yeah.
did it because they were trying to make it seem real, and you cannot go out in the night every single night for 10 years or even 8 years, if I remember right, and not come back with some fucked up bones and some poorly healed muscles and chronic pain and everything like that. I can buy that.
Right. Well, that's the biggest issue with one of the biggest issues with number 3 is
Yeah.
a knee brace, a magical knee brace, and he's perfectly fine again.
Yeah,
He's not
and
even
then he
using the
gets
cane
his
anymore.
fucking back snapped, and some dude basically chiropractors him back to life.
Yeah, that was the beautiful power of chiropractic services.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
people didn't used to try to pass off cracking knuckles as a cure for cancer. That never happened. Chiropractors are like the most ironically helpful doctors, for lack of more appropriate phrasing, because they legitimately started out as a fucking scam and then somehow accidentally ended up being somewhat helpful to a lot of
Yep.
people. Because, yeah, cracking your knuckles does provide some temporary relief, but if we're being 100% honest here, the majority of what's actually helping you when you go to see a chiropractor is the portion where they're massaging you. So if you can kind of take away a bit of the neck cracky
That sounds
bits
nice.
and put in more of the massagey bits, not so far as like a fucking shiatsu massage where you have a 98 to 120 pound Asian woman doing moonwalks on your spine. Somewhere in between those two extremes.
That sounds fucking
Um,
nice right now.
yeah, I know. I think that's the majority of the
Maybe,
drawback for it because they're like, I like being under the foot of a strong woman.
maybe that's maybe I've, I definitely don't feel like that's the case for me because I have absolutely 100% like misplaced my hip to where one side of it is legitimately up higher
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and chiropractic work has straightened it back out to the point where it doesn't hurt because my hip is now level again.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
So like I said, it definitely started out as a scam, and
yeah,
if you get one of the good
Well,
ones, then
the the
you're gonna be fucking right as rain. But
the scam bit came about because it wasn't the realignment of like the spine or
Mhm.
the realignment of bones. The scam bit was, and the real reason I know this is because of, you guys know my upbringing, all that bullshit.
yeah,
Um, yes, I was. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that bullshit. The information though is that originally part of the kicker with chiropractic was that they literally thought that they could cure, kind of like you were saying, like cure cancer, but they legit thought that toxins were created in the body, and the way to get rid of said toxins, whether it be cancer or uh, herpes, whatever the case was, right?
yeah,
By using chiropractic, it would heal diseases and heal ailments and all sorts of shit like that. When in
So
reality, that's not what it did.
minor pain
just like
relief,
how
sure, but nothing that deep.
Coca-Cola would cure stuff.
And that's exactly it. So ironically, they thought that they were curing diseases and shit, but then they found out that, oh wait, if we do this, we don't actually have to say we're curing diseases. We can just say, oh, we're fixing your fucking bones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
so they're walking
why
it
don't we
back a
just
bit.
fucking say that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we just fucking say that then? Oh, yeah, okay. And now it's a legitimate business practice
Mm-hmm.
that even the VA will allow. So just for all you veterans out there that don't know.
mm,
That's fair. So to round it out, the intention matters a lot more to me than the actual like uh, execution of it. So if
That's fair.
basically the idea that I'm getting at is that I expect more. If you're getting a hundreds of millions of dollars to $1 billion or whatever, like some fucking ridiculously out of nowhere type budget. If three people in a fucking 2 bedroom household in Northside California can film a better fucking movie on like $300,000 and rented camera equipment from a local university, and they can produce a better, more engaging and compelling story than you can with that fucking team of writers, scores of crew members, fucking entire teams and shifts of animators and editors and producers and everything like that, I expect fucking more from you, and I feel like we're getting cheated out of one aspect of this or another. And my prediction for She-Hulk is essentially that it's going to follow suit with the strong women in the fucking film. I really, really hope they don't do that and they actually make her, a career woman with a personality and an engaging, thought-provoking desire to help people.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to get that because of one very simple thing that you realize from watching the trailer. She wasn't trying to help Bruce Banner become Professor Hulk. He already is Professor Hulk, and she's basically just like volunteering to become another Hulk out of the righteousness of her personality. And I think that's fucking stupid.
Not to cut you off.
No, that's it. That was the end of it.
Do you want to know how dumb I am?
Go for it.
I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm sitting here thinking like you were. So, I don't know why I think this is funny, but like when you were explaining, you're like the one thing that makes me think that this is going to be stupid. I'm sitting there thinking you were going to say shaky cam. I don't know why I thought that. I'm not. I'm sitting here just like I was literally about to say shaky cam, and you're like that one part. And I'm like, oh god, I'm glad I didn't fucking say anything. I just sounded really stupid right there.
No, that would have been fucking great. That would have been a great moment just to take the piss out of the whole thing. So like the one thing that's really going to make this steaming fucking
shit is the
shaky cam. And it's like honestly the worst part is I'd probably be like, yeah, there's probably going to be a scene of her like discovering her powers and having no fucking issue controlling it and just like bolting and jumping so high she's just like, oh wow, this is great, I'm so high up in the air, not freaking out and then going like, oh shit, I'm a lot higher than I thought I'd be, and then fucking up and like accidentally
well, they've already shown that in the trailer where she's jumping like, and she's jumping with the Hulk, so clearly there's going to be a training montage in it.
I'm gonna get a montage,
motherfucking
Can't
montage.
see that montage.
If I can add one bit, if the listeners are not sold on Cloverfield, there is one other movie.
It's a hard fucking sell. Good luck.
I know, and that's fine. If you're not sold on it, that's fine. I know it's a very niche movie. It's not really liked. I get it. But if you want to watch a movie with decent shaky cam in it, that's a mock. You have to go into it knowing it's a fucking mockumentary. Okay, it's not supposed to be taken serious.
Blair Witch Project.
It's called Troll Hunter. Well, okay, Blair Witch Project's good too. But
no, Troll Hunter. That's a good
Troll
one.
Hunter. If you haven't watched Troll Hunter, I think it's on Prime. If it's not, it's on Hulu. It's on one of the two.
It's the sci-fi original, right? Or am I thinking of a different one?
No, it was a Swedish film. It's actually it's a foreign film. It is subtitled, unfortunately. I know, fucking read, you'll be fine. But
I like foreign movies.
It's a great. I'm not necessarily speaking to you guys, but more anybody listening.
Oh, fair enough.
I know I've talked about it to you guys before, plenty of times. But watch Troll Hunter. It's a great movie. It's funny. And the shaky cam is good. And there's even bits where the shaky cam is there and they still show the effects on screen. It's actually really impressive how well the effects come off with the shaky cam.
Huh.
If you don't want to watch Cloverfield, watch Troll Hunter. Yeah. It's a much better movie. I would actually say Troll Hunter is in my top 10 favorite films of all time.
Mm-hmm. I like
it. I've got like a top 100. If I say favorite film, it's in the top 100. Mm-hmm. So, but Troll Hunter's in the top 10.
So yeah, to finalize it, the closing thoughts are, we're hopeful, but optimistically not expecting very much in the way of a good story with a good, because the worst part about this is that She-Hulk as a character to me comes across as like one of the most powerful women in Marvel, but also one of the most womanly women in Marvel, because she's a strong, literally a strong, confident woman when she's She-Hulk, but then she has to deal with all the shit that she, like the insecurities and the issues and the and just the general difficulties of day-to-day life as Jennifer.
It could be good.
That's what I got from her, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Also, shaky cam could ruin it.
Yeah, shaky cam's gonna fuck this movie up.
Fuck shaky.
I feel like I'm gonna be the one to die on that hill one of these days we're gonna get into it about shaky cam movies.
We all like something about films that other people are like, this is fucking stupid. I love stylized movies. I love Wes Anderson films. I love the establishing shots that look like they're matte paintings, but it's just a fucking set that they made. Or sometimes it is a matte painting. I fucking love those. They're beautiful.
You know what's a before I
You're good.
Yeah. Before I forget here, what was I saying? Fuck. Oh, okay, stylized. Okay, if you want a good example of stylized but not great, Bunraku with Josh Hartnett, Ron Perlman, and a bunch of other fucking people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, not many people know about the movie. It's a hyper stylized, like action kung fu movie. I like it. It got a fucking straight up dump taken on it by critics. But it's hyper stylized. It's a fun movie. If you want to watch something like that, the art design, it literally looks like they're on a set. Them, you've seen it before? Or have you at least heard of it though, right?
I've at least heard of it.
So is it like a shittier version of God damn it, what's the one that has a bunch of Monty Python guys in it? Hold on.
No, this came out in like 2010. Bunraku is basically like a shittier version of like, I don't know, like Kung Fu Hustle, I guess.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, here, I'm putting it in the chat. I really enjoy it. It's Woody Harrelson's in it too. I keep forgetting he's in
it. Nice.
Yeah, and Demi Moore. Yeah, it's got a lot of fuck. Oh, Gackt's in it too. So Genesis for you Final Fantasy fans out there.
I do remember this movie.
Yep. I enjoyed the fuck out of it, but it is not by any stretch of the imagination. If we're talking like movies that are quote unquote good, this is not one of them. But I love it.
God, I remember this now as I'm looking at the IMDb page.
Yep. I fucking love this movie. I think this is one of those that I want to do with you guys, and I mean have sex with it, but like other than that, actually watch it and review it, because I think it gets way too much shit. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is, my opinion.
No.
But
oh god, now I'm like getting memory flashbacks of this as I'm looking at this again. I'm like, holy shit, I do remember this movie.
Yep.
Oh fuck, I liked this movie too.
We might have
Baron Munchausen. That's what I was thinking.
Honestly, I would not be surprised if we had watched this together.
We probably did. Might have been probably when it came out. We might have gone to theaters to see it.
Yeah, because it was 2010, so possibly.
Oh, that does remind me too. Literally, like one of my favorite terrible fucking kids movies is on Amazon Prime too. So I want to try to get you guys to watch it. It's called Hansel and Gretel. It has Howie Mandel in it.
No, child, no! Damn it, I have to go take our dogs. Hang on.
Is that right?
Okay. You said it's on Prime?
Yeah. Just literally Hansel and Gretel. It's fucking great. It's fucking terrible, but it's great.
Let me just. Hansel and Gretel.
Yes. Speaking of green women, there's the witch in it.
Okay, I got it pulled up. I'll watch it. Not. You're not talking about the one with Jeremy Renner, right?
No, not that one.
Okay, the 2021.
Yeah, this Hansel and Gretel was made in 1988.
88. Okay, I got it. Okay, I'll give it a watch.
It's fucking great.
I saw the Jeremy Renner one. I didn't know there was another one.
Oh yeah, no, nobody knows about this one. This is one of those like My Childhood Alone kind of things that I remember. Like Big Guy and Rusty. I constantly ask people if they've ever seen Big Guy and Rusty because I'm confident that they don't know what that is.
Big Guy and Rusty?
Yeah, I've met two people.
White robot with the little redhead?
Yes.
Yeah,
you're the other person that I've mentioned that to, because like we early on when Reb had introduced us, there was a moment where like you were talking to me about something, and this inevitably happens because I'm like under the weirdest like fucking half transparent, half opaque rock, where I've seen a lot of niche stuff and a lot of cool stuff, but I've also not seen a lot of fucking other niche stuff and a lot of cool stuff that goes around in the circles. So we have a conversation about one of those things. You're like, what? You haven't seen this? And I went, have you seen Big Guy and Rusty? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, well, that fucking ruins my joke.
There's hold on. Let me see. There's one I actually do now that since I got you both online, then I gotta bounce because I gotta fucking take a piss real bad. There's a character. Oh, is
Go,
it?
I'm sorry,
Okay.
go for it.
This is and last thing I'll do, and then I'm gonna bounce. Have you guys ever seen Duckman?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I've yeah, like is okay. So, Rec, your homework for tonight. You should look up Duckman.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Since Themger already knows about it, yeah, you should look up Duckman.
Awesome.
Duckman's great.
Duckman is great.
Yeah. Alrighty, boys.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you for
gotta
having
get
me
going.
on.
Thank you. Sorry I was late.
You're good. Oh, is
I
this the bit
appreciate
with the thing where okay, he goes like, have you ever did I ever tell you what the last thing my father ever said to me? And the guy goes, careful, son, I don't think
Yep.
the safety's on. He goes, before that, I've seen some clips of this, but I haven't seen the whole show, so I'm gonna check this
You
out.
know what Duckman reminds me of before we leave, and what show I actually miss?
Hmm.
The Oblongs.
Yeah, I was just talking with Lady C about it the other day.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Classic.
I don't think I ever
Fucking
saw that
classic.
one. But anyway,
Alrighty, boys.
thank you both for being on.
Thank you.
There's really no outros for this, so anything you want to shill before I cut it off?
Thank you for having me, and fuck you all.
Okay, I
I'll
like
I'll
it.
just say the same thing. I'll just steal whatever Themger said.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So then I'll use my usual one. Then I don't care if you like, share, subscribe. Go fuck yourself.